Hey everybody, Rich Boesel here. We're going to finally get out and do some February fishing. We had about 2 weeks of really super cold weather here in North Carolina. Rivers went way down, didn't rain, and then water temperatures dropped to 32 degrees, right at freezing. It was crazy. But then we also had about a week and a half of really heavy rains and flooding. So about the last 3 or 4 weeks haven't really been able to do any kind of fishing, but today looks like a great day. Water looks super, so hopefully we're going to get out and find some fish. I'm excited. I got a new Christmas present going to be trying out today. Got some heated socks, and I'm going to be putting these in my waders and seeing how they do. Hopefully that'll help keep my feet warm in this cold water. I did have to send my good pair of waders into Simms to get repaired. They still have them. Hopefully I'll get those back relatively soon. So I got my old pair with me today. And hopefully there's not too many holes. So we'll see how this goes. I'm planning on doing some dry dropper, doing some uranymphing, and then also going to be swinging some flies with some Trout Spey. Something I've been working on, and we'll see how that goes. So come on along, let's see. Okay, got pretty much rigged up now. Got my Trout Spey. I put it away for now. I'm gonna pick it up after trying the upper part of the river here. It's a little shallow for what I'm gonna be doing. Anyway, got my heated socks on. I got them turned on the lowest setting because it's actually pretty warm out here today. I know the water's going to be cold, but I'm going to give them a trial. Then I got another new thing that I'm trying out. As I'm getting older, it's getting a little bit harder to get down to my boots all the time. So I bought this little step that just attaches to my hitch. And now I can, instead of having to go way up here and scratch my finish, I can put my foot here and do up my boots. So kind of a good little idea, something to keep in mind. Oh, there's one. I think he took the jig streamer. Got him on the Uranymph. Let's see. Yep. Nice. All right, first strike of the day. Oh, a nice brown, a little brown. Sweet. Good little brown. There we go. All right, so at least we're on the board. So the water's still a little bit off color from all those rains. But at least I got one. And that might have been a strike. Could have been a rock too. Of course, when I turn the camera off, that's when you get a strike. There's a couple in there. See another one coming up. Let's see what we got him on. Oh, he took the soft tackle. A real rainbow. Nice. No, actually, is it a rainbow? Let's see what we got. Yep, little, actually just a really light colored brown, I think. Sweet. Another brown. Like those browns. Okay, so caught a few on the Uranymph, nothing on dry dropper. I really haven't seen anything coming off, which is a little bit disappointing since it's a nice, somewhat warm day. But got a really nice riffle here, dropping off into some deep water. And this, there's a couple little caddis coming off. So this might be a good place to do swinging some flies, since we see a few caddis coming off. So I'm going to try the Trout Spey. So this is my Echo 11-foot 2-weight, and it's paired with a Scandi line that I think is 230 grams. It's made by Rio, and then on the end of my line I've got a Versaleader, and the Versaleader is a little bit clear and it's weighted, so this will actually get the flies down. It's a kind of an intermediate sinking Versaleader. And then for my flies I've got kind of a big Prince nymph that's unweighted, and then because I caught a few on this weighted soft tackle, I'm gonna put that on the point, and we'll see how that works and give it a few tries. Okay, so got out here. Gonna try this a little bit and see. Give it a little upstream mend so I get a good drift kind of starting right off the bat. See if there's any aggressive fish. Kind of drops off into a slower, deeper water there, so kind of hoping that's where the money is, but we'll see. So this water's still a little cold. We're right about 40 degrees because of all that really cold weather that we had. And that's probably why we're not seeing any bugs yet, even though it's 55 out here today. We'll just keep trying though. What I'm doing is just making a few casts and then taking a step or two kind of across and down just to cover more water. You can see how effortlessly that is, though, to do those casts and get these flies swinging. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, I missed him. So I got a bump right in there. Just right on that drop off. Oh, here's a little caddis flying right there. I tend to also, with this, set the hook too hard. So these fish will usually almost hook themselves. Oh, that was a bad one. You almost just have to let them hook themselves and not do anything, because they come up from behind and hit those flies when they're dangling there. Let's see if we can go back there. Got to cast underneath that branch there. Oh yeah, good caddis rise coming now. There's one. There we go. Nice. And you got to remember that even though this is a 2-weight, it being 11 foot, you put a lot of pressure on a small fish. I mean, if it was a big fish, that'd be great, and you're pulling them upstream. So you just got to go slowly. And I try and keep my rod tip kind of low so that they don't flop up on the surface. I want to try and see which one he took. Curious. All right. Let's see if I can get him upstream of me here a bit. That's a brown. He took the weighted fly. No, come here, fish. There we go. That's actually a pretty nice brown. Pretty nice brown. All right, sweet. Let's get him released. Off we go. So that worked. All right, let's see if we can get another one. It was interesting, just when I saw all those caddis coming off, that's when I got that strike. Step down here. I can't really make a high cast. If I blow it a little bit, I'll hit that tree, so I'm having to kind of shoot it low. Oh, there was a little bump. So I also keep a little loop here so that if a really big fish hits and pulls really fast, I got a little bit of a buffer. I can just, ooh, that might have been a rise over there. So I'm tempted to put a jig streamer on, just because I've had those hits and I've don't want to go any further because this is kind of where I've caught fish. So if I had my tips here, I'd probably put on a little bit more of a sinking tip. That water's a little bit deep for this first leader. All right, so I moved downriver a little bit to another little drop off here. I don't see any caddis here, but we'll give this a try. I got a tree here also, so I'm just going to do a single-handed cast underneath and try and swing it in through here a bit. Oh, there's a, oh, I had a tug. Had a tug, missed it. Oof, got away with that one. Once I get clear of this tree, I'll be able to do regular spey casts. All right, so of course, as soon as I turn the camera off, that's when you pick one up. Nice. A little less current here than the last place, so doesn't feel like a real big fish. He's still putting up a pretty good fight though. Let's see where you are. Oh, a nice little brownie. Took the jig streamer, of course. Come here, baby. There you go. All right. Already free. We'll let them go. Don't even touch them. Good job. Still can't quite get a spey cast here because of those overhangs. But we don't really need to at this point. Oh, might have had a bump. Yeah, there's a fish. I thought I had a bump. So he was following it, and I had a little bump, and I just gave him some line, and he hit it again then after that. Sweet. Looks like deja vu all over again. Or is that a... Can't tell if that's a rainbow yet or not. The water's a little bit murky here. No, these are all browns. All right, pretty little brown. Let them go. Off we go. Come on, fishy. Well, I will say my electric socks are working pretty good. I've been standing in this 40-degree water pretty much all day, and toes are still okay. So I'm just kind of doing a cast, taking a step, doing another cast, trying to cover this whole big flat bed, see if there's any aggressive fish. Now I can do regular casting. Oh, there's a bump. Give him some line. There it is. So that worked again. Had a bump, gave him some line. And oh no, did he come off? Or is he coming at me? I can't tell. Oh, he came off. Okay, so made up for that miss by picking up this one. Feels like a little bit better fish, actually. Oh, he's off. Oh, God. Dang it. I think I lifted him too much. All right, back in action. Let's see what we can do here. Just giving it a little bit of movement. Oh, there's a fish. Sweet. Oh, he's off. Oh, dang it. What is going on? All right, so about done here for the day. Try a few more casts. Been a pretty good day though, given the crappy weather we've had recently and the river being up and kind of off color. I'm a little bit surprised that the Trout Spey did as well as it did. I missed, what, 3 or 4 fish and landed 3 or 4. So that's not too shabby. Okay, out here another day. It's about a week later. The water's a lot clearer today, and the water level has dropped. We really haven't had any rain during the week, so we'll see how this changes the fishing here. I made some changes to my setup, one of which is I added to my jig streamer, I cut off the main hook and I added a little stinger hook. I don't know if you can see that here in the tail, because I kept getting a lot of short grabs last week. Had quite a few hits and just couldn't seem to stay connected. So we'll see if this trick will help. And if it does, then I'll show you all how to tie the fly at the end of the video. Okay, so I fished this run last time when we were here, and had some tugs down below. I had better luck downriver, but I want to fish this anyway. But I just finished fishing this with dry dropper, and I tried different midges. I tried some little baby soft tackle. I tried an egg, actually got one on a micro egg, but that was really it. Nothing on the surface. Now, also noticed this time that there aren't any caddis, and last time when I was here there were some occasional caddis coming off. We got a much cloudier day today, so maybe as it warms up later on it'll get better, but I don't know. So I'll start swinging some flies here, and we'll see how this goes, trying out this new fly. Almost clear of that tree. I could get a snake roll in. Yep. And then I periodically need to check my fly. And just check and make sure that they're flying the way they're supposed to. This is where I would expect to bump. It was right down in here. Let me check my flies. Make sure they're good. Yeah, they look right. I'll set up again here. Come on, fishy. Ooh. Baby. There's one. Feels pretty good too. Try and get him out of the current over here and walk him over to the side here. Nice. Actually feels like a reasonable fish. Or it's just all current, one or the other. Keep walking. Try and get him out of that current. I don't see him yet. Oh yeah, nice brown. Real nice brown. And he took the jig streamer. All right, what am I tangled up here with my... There he is. All right. One or two more. Yeah, that's a really nice brown. Let's see if I can get him up here. Oh, well, that was worth coming up here for. Nice. Took the jig streamer, just crushed it. And look at this here. He actually had it just by the by that little stinger hook that I put on. Wow, that's a pretty nice fish. That'll go about 14, 15 inches. That was worth coming for today. Yeah, hey, so this worked on the little stinger hook. Wow, so that was actually pretty great. So what I did, as it was going downriver, I kind of gave it a little bit, and that's when he hit it. Interesting. And back where I thought he would be. And again, I had fished that already with dry dropper a few times. All right, let's set up and get a good cast in here. See if his brother's in there. Well, that's a bigger fish than I caught all the time last time. And like I said, just that one fish was worth the drive up here today. Let's see if we can pick up another. Wow, that was fun. That's one of the bigger fish I've caught on the Trout Spey. The other ones have been a little small, and even on a 2-weight, you know, a 12-inch fish kind of is a little bit overpowered by this. But that fish felt good. There's one. Feels like another halfway decent fish. Get him up on the reel here. I don't think he's as big as the last one. He's definitely coming in a little bit easier. Looks like a rainbow. Boy, last week I didn't catch any rainbows, that's for sure. Let's see what we got here. Or it could just be a really light colored brown. He's right in the glare, I can't see him. No, it's just a light colored brown. Oh, he took the soft tackle. Nice. Nice. Well, that's a pretty decent fish too. That's a pretty decent fish too. So this is a peeping caddis soft tackle that I've got on. Nice. 12-inch fish or so. Maybe 13. So that one took the soft tackle, and it was kind of just when it was floating kind of down, which makes sense, right? The streamer, you would think they have to have some movement to it, and the soft tackle doesn't always have to do anything. Just let it float. Get some line out here and see. Let it sink down in there a bit and see what happens. There's one. And again, it was when I was feeding them line. So that one was a little bit more of the drift. Let's get them up here on the reel and see what we got. So again, I'm trying to keep my rod tip a little low and help get these guys out of the current. A little bit smaller fish. They're getting smaller. Hey, but a fish is a fish. That one took the jig streamer. Okay, so there he is. Let him go. Well, he doesn't want to come out. There he goes. Hey, so far so good. Yeah. There we go. So adding that movement has really helped. I'm into a little pot of smaller fish, I think, back here, but that's okay. Let's see what we got. Yep. Let's get him over here away from my line. Oh, he doesn't want to go over there. And took the jig streamer again. So this modified jig streamer is really working pretty well. All right. All right, he just came right off without me having to do anything, so hopefully we can let him go. Sweet. All right, this guy, he hit it on the drift, dead drift down below. Nice. See if I can get him out of the glare here a bit. Yeah, on the jig streamer. Let's get him in here. Oh, I gotta shorten him up a bit more. There we go. There's a nice little brown. All browns. Alright, let's see if we can get one along that bank. There's one. Yes, sirree. Oh, he's off. Ah, oh, dang it. Oh. But at least I know they're in there now. Finally got some room to do a real cast. Oh, there's a fish. Oh, baby. Finally got a little bit of room. Let me get him over here away from this current. Walk him over. Not a bad fish. Looks like he took the jig streamer. Yep. Little fish. Let's get him over here. We can land him. Get him upstream. I want your mama. Where's your mama? All right. Good job. Get him unhooked. Little baby. All right, let's see if we can get another one. Let's see if we can get a big one. So he was sitting right on that far seam over there. And I finally got enough room to cast. All right, last two casts. Let's make them good ones here. Okay, so we had a pretty successful day out on the river swinging flies, and one of the things I love doing when I'm fishing is troubleshooting. And so the first week that I went fishing, I had a lot of short strikes, had a lot of misses, had a lot of fish on for a second and came off, and in my head I figured out that I wanted to add a stinger hook to the jig streamer that I was fishing. So I mentioned in the video that I was going to show you all how to do that if it was successful, and I thought it was. I had very few missed fish that day and landed a heck of a lot more. So let me run through this here with you. It's pretty simple. Right now what I've got is a size 10 jig hook. I've got a 4mm bead. You can use any color you want. I just happen to have a pink one for this demo. Usually I use silver. And you know, if you're swinging flies and you have weighted tips, you really don't need to put a lot of weight on your flies, but I was using that Versaleader, which is only like a 1.5 inch per second sink rate. So I was using a little bit more of a weighted fly to kind of get that down a little bit more. So the first thing I'm going to do is just dress my fly up. And once I get about here, I'm going to stop. And then I've got some hooks. And again, I don't know that there's a magic hook for this. I just decided to try a number size 14, kind of just a regular curved nymph hook for my stinger hook. And it seemed to work pretty well. You might want to experiment and try some different hooks. And again, it depends on how big a fish you think you're going to be catching. Most of the fish that we were catching were in that, 10 to 14 inch range, so I felt this was adequate. And then what I do is I take a little piece of backing, and this is just some old leftover backing that I have, and we're going to thread that on. And this is the tricky part here because it's a little bit braided. Basically just going to thread it on and create a little loop like this. And then we're going to tie that onto our fly. And I'm just going to make it hang off the back just a tiny bit. So just basically a really tiny little loop. And we'll tie that down pretty good, nice and tight. So the idea here is that stinger hook is going to be out in that marabou when I tie that marabou in later on. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to fold this over. Actually, let me go a little bit further. I don't want this to pull out. So we're going to tie this back. And let me grab my scissors real quick. I left those over here. We're just going to cut this off. Get some better scissors soon. Alright. And then what I like to do at this point is take a little bit of super glue and just dab it on here just to make sure that that thread stays really well affixed to my hook. Then we're going to take our marabou. And what I like to do with the marabou is not use the very tip of the marabou feathers like this, but rather use these ones that are further down on the stem. And let me see if I can get that into focus here. Further down on the stem. And what I'm going to do is grab a clump of those and peel them off the stem. And kind of keep the ends all lined up, and then I'm just going to bunch those up with my fingertips. And it looks really messy at this point, but there's a reason for doing this, and that's to try and get those ends nice and fluffy at the end. Alright, so we're just going to tie this down. And I'm going to come forward first. And then we'll go back. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I like to come back to just where it goes down the shank of the hook a little bit in the back, so it hits that curve just a little bit like that. And then we'll come back here. I'm going to trim out this part, and then we'll tidy it up a bit as David Fail likes to say. So there's my marabou. Now you can put more marabou on if you want. You can change colors. I'm just happening to use olive today. I like black. I'm actually going to go ahead and put a little bit more. So I'm going to go same thing. I'm going to grab along the stem, peel off a little bit. I just like a little bit thicker kind of tail. Just going to lay a little bit more down on there. And so again, if you're going to change colors, this is what you would do. You would go ahead and change colors at this point. So there's a nice kind of thick tail. Alright. Then what we're going to do is take some polar chenille, and this is medium polar chenille made by Hairline. And again, it comes in all different colors. Since I'm using olive, I'm going to use kind of the olive brown. I'm just going to go ahead and tie this in. Right back to where that curve starts. And then we'll come back up to the front. And then if you have a rotary vise, you can use the rotary vise, which I do. So I'm going to go ahead and spin this and just wrap this chenille all the way forward. And I kind of bunch it up a little bit behind that bead, and then just tie it off. So I do kind of 3 or 4 wraps, kind of tying that off, and then we'll cut it off here. So I'm just going to cut off that little piece, and then basically whip finish, and we're almost done with this fly. So this is a pretty easy fly to tie. Now what I like to do here, here's my stinger hook right there, kind of sitting in the marabou. I like to come just a tiny bit, like 1/8 of an inch past that, grab this, let me see if I can slide it over here. So there's my stinger hook. I don't know if you can see that, kind of buried in my marabou here. There it is, right? And I'm just going to come a little bit past that with my fingertips and grab this marabou, kind of like right there. So it's about 1/8 inch past that stinger hook. And then I'm just going to use my fingertips and just pinch off this marabou. I like to do this instead of cutting it. There's a little flyer there, because it makes these ends really kind of fluffy instead of nice and straight. I don't like them nice and straight, I like them a little bit fluffy. So that way, now, as this fish comes in behind here to bite, if it grabs the whole thing, you know, great, I've got the big hook if I want it, and then I've got my little stinger hook. So that's kind of what I fished the other day. If your regulations require you to cut off this, you know, only have one hook, I would of course cut off the top one. I don't think it'll change anything, because almost all the fish that I caught were on the stinger, which was very, very interesting, including that big one that I caught. So that's the fly. You can't even see that stinger hook back in there, but it's in there, and that worked really well. If you're using, and well, actually I did forget one thing. I do crimp this little barb down on here. So I do have my pliers here, and you can do this before you put it on. I forgot. So just go ahead and crimp down your barb. One for safety for you and also for the fish. So that's all, that's it. So like I said, you can fish it like this with 2 hooks. You can fish it with 1 hook if your regulations require it. Just cut off that top hook with your pliers, and you're all set. Give this a try. Hopefully it works.